The Lexus GX is all new for 2024. The question is it better than its corporate sibling, the Toyota Land Cruiser? The answer is yes. Yes, it is better than the Toyota Land Cruiser, but we'll explain why.
But first, here's how much the Lexus GX costs.
Now, the last time we drove a Lexus GX, it was the 2023 model. There were a lot of things that we thought felt a bit short, specifically because it'd been on the market for like a decade, but some people did not like us critiquing the GX.
Good news, we're happier now.
This GX is a much better GX. It's tasteful, it's simple, it doesn't look like it's trying too hard.
I'm digging the small storage. There's a place for your phone in the dash, in the door.
There's a wireless phone charging zone. And on the other side, it looks like it should do a bunch of stuff, and then you open up and I'm like, oh, it's just like an outlet. I think you're just supposed to set your phone there.
I'll just put mine in the door.
If you want to put a bottle in the front door storage, it's a little bit limited. In the back doors, though, it's a little bit easier to slide a bottle in. There are up to 12 cup holders throughout the cabin. The GX we're testing has the optional cool box. I actually had a really good use case for this. I bought an edible arrangement for some friends who did a really cool thing. I put it right in here, it held it in place, and it kept it cool for like an hour-long drive to drop it off. The cool box. Another thing I'm appreciating about the GX are the seats. I'm not feeling any pressure points. We've got pretty great adjustability in this version and surprisingly excellent lateral support. We also have the optional massage seat function. You have to go in here and go to vehicle settings and then seat controls and then massage and then tap a seat, and then you can access that functionality. I like the streamlined look of this generation interior, but I would really appreciate a physical button. Seated behind myself, I have more than adequate knee and headroom. Also a very generous recline. Moving to that middle spot, previously I've been like, I don't know, make it a flat floor. But empathy for our daughter has maybe shifted my position on that center seat a little bit. Her legs are short enough that the knees don't go to where the seat ends, and so her legs wind up sticking out, unless there's a little bit of a hump there. Kiddo, how did you find sitting in that middle spot?
Better than the bigger seat, like on the side.
So when you're in that outboard position, your legs just go straight out into the back of mommy's seat. Oh, and how did you find climbing in and out of here, kiddo?
Pretty easy.
Did you use the rock rail or the handle?
Yeah.
We've got the optional rock rails on this version, and that gives you little step points to get you in. Without that, I think it might be tricky because the hand grips are high placed, and I don't think they'd be accessible to children.
But for a short adult like myself, they worked great.
I also like in the back seat, we've got vents for the kiddo. One thing we don't have though is we don't have that third row. It comes on every version of the GX except for the Overtrail and Overtrail Plus. For versions of the GX that do have a third row, there are 10.3 cubic feet behind that third row. Realistically, you're gonna leave that third row down most of the time. And in that situation, you have 40.2 cubic feet, which is a generous amount of cargo space, unless you get the Overtrail Plus, and then that number jumps to 45.6 cubic feet.
There's also a tiny bit of underfloor storage and a bit of side storage as well.
For maximum cargo space, the second row seats flip up and you hold them in position. You can also put them in sort of a midway spot where just the seat backs flop down. If you need to carry a bunch of stuff, the GX can do it. A power hatch comes standard on all GXs, and then there's an optional kick function, which is a little bit off to the right side, I eventually figured out. And just like its platform mate, the Toyota Land Cruiser, the GX has flip-up rear glass. I feel like it's making a comeback. One other improvement for this generation is that we have a vertical opening door instead of a horizontally opening door, which works better on the angles that we are always parking on up here in the mountain. What about installing a booster seat? Not that we need to because our daughter is out of them.
The lower anchors are covered by a latch flap, which easily moves out of the way, simple to install our booster. It also looks like there would be room for a rear-facing car seat back there.
As for safety, neither the NHTSA nor IIHS have rated this generation of Lexus GX, but we have an extensive suite of active driver assist technology, plus 10 airbags. Family, what do we think? Is the Lexus GX family friendly?
With a base price of over $50,000, it is rich family friendly.
Rear window test. All the way down. Boop. Ah, my hand. Armrest test. Driving in a comfortable 8 and 4, easy access to the inboard and outboard armrest. Solid squish factor in both situations. No annoying stitching. 90% inboard, 90% outboard. Onward to style.
The GX is handsomely styled. I especially like the rear 3/4 view. I have to admit, it's very similar to the Land Cruiser, and I much prefer the front end on the Land Cruiser.
The Land Cruiser has a real nice classic charm, but I think the GX maybe has a more enduring design. I think it's handsome, premium, masculine. I really like the look of the GX. We're driving the Overtrail Plus version, and the Overtrail trims have a few distinguishing features. Toyo Open Country AT tires are a big one, not only because they look a little beefier, I think they're the biggest tires ever applied to a Lexus, 33 inches. They also offer some real functionality. I know some people who have the Toyo ATs and really like them. We've also got distinct front and rear fascias. It kind of looks like a silver skid plate, front and rear, and that is plastic. But if you go underneath, there is some real metal under there. First thing that happened when I got into the GX, I started driving, I'm like, what the heck is that noise? The $1,600 off-road roof rack makes a lot of noise at freeway speeds. Ooh, I like the two-tone paint. It's earth and black onyx. The earth color looks lovely, but if it were me, I'd probably go with nori green. And it really aligns with some of the green touches inside here.
That's a good looking green.
On that note, I like green, but whatever your stylistic preference, Flying Eyes offers sunglasses and eyeglasses in a range of colors and styles. Now, they all feature patented resilimide construction, making them light, flexible, and extremely comfortable under a headset or helmet. If you're in the market for sunglasses or eyeglasses and you want to help support our channel, you can learn more about Flying Eyes at the link in the description below. Cool crossed arm position you got there, kiddo. We are big fans of the style of the Lexus GX, but what do you think? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Tell us in the comments. Onward to In Motion. The Lexus GX is a body-on-frame SUV. Rugged! We have an independent front suspension paired with a live rear axle. Ride quality is excellent. What makes it so excellent is contrast with the 2023 model. When I drove that, it felt really unmoored and boat-like. Then I got in here, a world of difference. So very comfortable, pretty quiet with the exception of that roof rack, and incredible control once I got to the windy section of road. I don't want to do what I told you, but in the previous video, I mentioned something about steering. Before you say, yeah, but it's an off-roader, why do you care? I know it's an off-roader, but I also know that with modern suspension geometry and technology, you can make an off-road SUV that is maybe a little bit more connected to the road if you're actually driving on a road. I feel vindicated because the GX does exactly what I wanted them to do with the previous GX. It feels very connected to the road. Steering ratio isn't like wildly slow, it feels responsive. We got some legitimate criticism on our previous GX video, but my suggestion that you could make a GX that rides better is exemplified by the vehicle we're driving here. Aiding all of that is the fact that we've got the optional adaptive damping system. So we can go through various drive modes, like say you put it into Sport Plus. It corners with better enthusiasm than I could have hoped for, which is doubly impressive because we're driving on all-terrain tires. I'm just gonna go through here with a little bit of enthusiasm. I mean, we hit the limits of the tires pretty quickly, but the body movements are well controlled. The goal with an SUV is not to make it a sports car, but you want to feel confident when you're cornering, and it does that. For power, we've got a twin-turbo V6. I'm flooring it. Whee! Prompt reactions from the 10-speed automatic transmission. My complaint from the 2023 model is that it was a very old powertrain and that it was actually slower from 0 to 60 than the Prius. This one, quicker than a Prius, 6.5 seconds from 0 to 60. That's what I think about driving the Lexus GX, but what does Sweetie think? Evie's at the wheel. Pull us out of here and tell me what's it like to maneuver this thing. Is that light enough for you to steer?
Absolutely.
By size, does this feel like a manageable SUV?
It does.
So you're going around the corner here with some speed. Feel confident?
Yes, and this really surprised me because it drives so differently from the Land Cruiser. I felt much more confident in this going around corners.
I would be curious to drive one of the versions of the GX that does not have the adaptive damping system, but I agree, yes, this is a much more planted, more confident vehicle to drive. Any visibility concerns?
Visibility is good all around.
And then when taking off from a stop, do you feel like you had the power you needed to get out ahead of traffic?
I do. There's like a momentary delay, but the sound comes in letting you know power is on the way.
Driving the Land Cruiser, you get that immediate electric torque off the line. This has to build up a little bit of steam. It's a twin turbocharged engine, but when it does, it works well. Overall, are there any game killers that would keep you from driving a Lexus GX?
No game killers here.
Strong praise. I'm getting back in the driver's seat. All right, we've seen what Sweetie thinks and I think on road, but how is the GX off-road? Pause, 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 driving in a straight line, and okay, this is actually 84 grand worth of Lexus, so we're gonna be pretty gentle here, but I do have a couple of tests I want to check out. Before we get to that though, what are we working with off-road?
Are you asking me?
Oh no. We've got standard full-time four-wheel drive, and we've actually got a little bit more ground clearance because we're driving the Overtrail version. 0.2 extra inches, which I think mostly just comes from bigger tires. 8.6 inches total, which is still not that great in the world of off-road ground clearance, but we can work with it. There's also a standard Torsen limited slip center differential with a lock function. And then because we have the Overtrail version, there's the kinetic dynamic suspension system, which in simplest terms decouples the left and right sides so that you can have better articulation.
I want to see the kinetic dynamic dance crew.
That is a really good name for a dance crew, sweetie.
Right?
The Overtrail also gets a feature that I think is really critical if you want to do some more adventurous off-roading, which is a locking rear differential. We did not have that last time we drove a GX, and I think that is a huge benefit to having this GX. Some of the off-roading that we do, like in our Bronco, we did like a gnarly step up on a rock the other day, and having a locker in the rear is really, really helpful. We also get crawl control with the Overtrail version, and it only activates in 4 low, and some actually may be able to activate that right now. There are 5 different speeds, so my foot is not on the gas right now. It's like cruise control, but for off-road. By the way, when you put it into off-road mode, you get this really cool visualization here with like the quasi see-through setup. You got the edges, so you can see what rocks you're gonna hit. There are quail running up in front of us, and I can see them on here. That's it, fly quail, fly. We also have a few different drive modes because we have the Overtrail version, and using them is so much easier because it's all in this one centralized spot. Multi-terrain select, activate that. There are different modes in 4 low, so we've got rock, mud, and sand. If we go to 4 high, pop it in neutral, and that's a very quick switch from 4 low to 4 high, and we've got a few different modes to work through.
Does this thing have ice?
It does have a snow mode. To get maximum benefit out of our GX, I'm gonna pop it back into 4 low. I'm gonna leave it in auto and let it figure itself out. We have a little articulation moment right here. Let's get a couple tires light and see what happens. You can feel we're in a little bit of a precarious position here. Let's see how we move forward. Well, that was just, there we go. Non-issue. Okay, we have a more challenging articulation moment right up here. There we go. You feel that? Kind of a floppy feeling like we're only on 2 tires. There we go. So you can feel it braking, but look, we're crawling forward.
I heard the effort.
But we moved without any challenge.
Absolutely.
We didn't even need to activate the rear locker. One more quick little bit of praise too. I really like how the GX rides off-road. We're moving around a little bit, but in a very comfortable way. This went much better than the last GX we drove. It's so much easier to use the capabilities of this Lexus GX. Yeah, this is a legit off-road package. Though it's, again, 85 grand as equipped, so we're gonna just call it there. In total, updating your 10-year-old GX to something modern yields a better driving experience. Who could have imagined that? Onward to remarks. We have a standard 14-inch screen. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless smartphone connectivity comes standard, and this is the exact same setup we've seen in all modern Toyotas and Lexuses.
Using the system is very simple. There are shortcuts on the side, easy to navigate through the menus. I like the climate controls down here. The one you'd use most often, adjusting the temperature, is very easy to find.
With a physical knob. Just enough tactile touch points to accompany this screen-centric interface. The infotainment arrangement in the 2023 model, it was an absolute mess. This makes a million times more sense. Love it. Also, we have a standard 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster in all GXs. And now let's take a look under the hood in a test inspired by my buddy Brian. Here's where you check the oil level. Here's where you add oil, and there is where you add the washer fluid. All right, let's talk engine choices. The only engine offered is a 3.4-liter V6 that's twin turbocharged. Premium fuel is recommended, and full-time 4-wheel drive comes standard. If you want to tow, it maxes out at a very specific 9,096 pounds. There is a standard tow mode and a trailer brake controller.
Micah,
Yes, Evelyn.
will you share our trim recommendation? Does it make it sound like you're in trouble if I call you Micah instead of Sweetie?
It really does.
Does that make you a bad boy?
Well, am I loud and obnoxious? Yeah, I guess I am, okay. Though I might be in trouble, I will share our trim recommendation. Our trim recommendation is which trim gives you the essential features you would regret not getting, but at the lowest possible price. The base Lexus GX covers all of the essentials with 8-way power, faux leather front seats that are heated and ventilated, a moonroof, dual zone automatic climate control, and smart key access. All that said, if we were buying our own Lexus GX, we'd get the Overtrail version, not the Plus, but the standard Overtrail version. It's $5,000 more than the base vehicle, but getting a rear locker, proper off-road tires, and those extra drive modes, for us, would be worth it because we do a fair bit of off-roading. Among the competitors are the Jeep Grand Cherokee and Land Rover Defender, but if you don't need off-road ability, consider the Mercedes-Benz GLE or BMW X5. Going back to something we mentioned at the beginning of the video, is the GX better than the Toyota Land Cruiser? And I said yes. Here's why. One, it's available with third row seating, and for many people that's very useful. It also offers better ground clearance, natural brake feel instead of the hybrid wonkiness that you get with the Land Cruiser.
Worse fuel economy.
That's true. The interior though is much, much nicer.
And the way it drives is much more pleasant.
The GX is also more powerful than the Land Cruiser. It can tow like 3,000 pounds more, and it's barely more expensive if you equip them similarly, which is kind of mind-blowing. So yeah, the Lexus GX is better than the Toyota Land Cruiser. But if you think the Land Cruiser is cute, feel free to get one. Did we miss any remarks? If so, tell us in the comment section. And now it is our daughter's time to shine. Child, can you tell us what is your favorite feature in the Lexus GX?
This little thing on the door. I like to pretend my fingers are a person skiing. Whee!
I don't think you could be any more adorable than that. That's a good job. Clearly our child is eager for ski season. Family, I think we've done a good job reviewing the Lexus GX. May I have a 5 and a 5, and you come get your high five. Bam! And now please enjoy our Lexus GX synopsis song created expertly by artificial intelligence.